Episode 85, A Special Mission. Splurge later. The next morning, at the entrance of the Platinum Emperor Palace residence, a black Maybach was parked there, with Ching Feng and 4 bodyguards standing guard. One of the bodyguards, a tall and seemingly sturdy figure, couldn't help but inquire with Ching Feng, Assistant Ching, why did the boss go to X country this time, especially to inspect a chaotic place like Philadelphia? Couldn't someone else go? Is that processing plant really that important? Thinking about the purpose of this trip, a glint of insight flashed in Ching Feng's eyes. He then glanced at the big guy and said, if your brain isn't enough, don't think nonsense. Can you guess the boss's intentions? Just follow orders. The big guy scratched his head, thinking Ching Feng made sense. Oh, I see. Thanks, Assistant Cheng. As they were talking, a lean bodyguard suddenly cursed under his breath. He couldn't take it anymore and walked up to Ching Feng. No, I can't stand it. I have to find the boss and ask him to revoke the order. Ching Feng frowned at the youth who spoke. What order? The youth, named Shi Xiao, was the most skilled and trusted person among the bodyguards, making him one of Lu Tingxiao's most reliable men. If Lu Tingxiao issued an order to him, it must be the most important matter. Ching Feng raised an eyebrow and asked, what order did you receive? Shi Xiao lit a cigarette, looking displeased. Late last night, I suddenly received a call from the boss, and I thought it was something major. It turns out he wants me to go to a film set to take charge of a woman's safety in a while. Damn it, I've risked my life for over a decade, gone through special training, and now I'm supposed to protect a stinky woman? Shi Xiao, shut up. Do you want to die? Ching Feng nervously glanced in the direction of the gate. If the boss hears you, you're finished. Shi Xiao had an indignant expression. I really can't understand. What's so special about that woman besides being pretty? What has blinded the boss to make him so infatuated with her? Ching Feng knew that these people, who were skilled in handling knives and guns, had limited understanding. He could only patiently advise, Shi Xiao, listen to me, you're not allowed to say these things, and you have to obey orders. With an aggrieved expression, Shi Xiao, who was getting more impatient, waved his hand. Fine, I won't say anything else. But, for this order, I really can't do it. I won't protect a woman who only knows how to show off. Ching Feng knew that these words were a bit too much, especially considering it was Lu Tingxiao's order. Before he could react, a figure in a black suit, with a stern expression, slowly walked out of the residence. Shi Xiao immediately rushed over. Boss, I have something to discuss with you. Ching Feng could only sigh and shake his head. He hoped Shi Xiao would be okay. Lu Tingxiao, with a cold expression, glanced at the man before turning his gaze to the big guy behind Shi Xiao. He spoke, Xiongji, you replace Shi Xiao. Xiongji was momentarily stunned, scratched his head, and obediently replied, yes, boss. Seeing the situation resolved, Ching Feng hurriedly went over to open the car door for Lu Tingxiao. After Lu Tingxiao got into the car, Ching Feng patted the shoulder of the big guy and couldn't help but sigh. Ah, it's true that fools have good fortune. That kid, Shi Xiao, if one day he finds out that the boss entrusted him with such an important task as protecting the boss's wife, and he rejected it himself, Ching Feng wondered if he would regret it to the point of spitting blood. Fa Hua Temple. After her discussion with Lu Chongshan, Yan Rui found some time and hurried to the temple early in the morning. The temple was bustling with people offering incense early in the morning. Yan Rui lit a stick of incense and then stood in a side hall, waiting anxiously. Soon, a young novice monk approached and greeted her with folded hands, saying, Amit Ba, Miss Yan has arrived. Yan Rui returned the greeting and nervously inquired, Little monk, I wonder how Master Xianjing will respond? The abbot has been waiting in the inner hall for some time. Miss Yan, please follow me, the young novice monk replied. Ah, Master Xianjing agreed. That's great. Thank you, thank you. Yan Rui, holding a stack of birth charts for wealthy women, joyfully followed the novice monk toward the back courtyard's meditation room. The courtyard had cobblestone paths, and at the end was a grove of red maple trees. In the pond in front of the house, several white egrets were preening their feathers. The tranquil atmosphere of the small courtyard naturally calmed one's emotions. Arriving at the entrance of Master Xuanjing's meditation room, the young novice monk solemnly said, Abbot, Miss Yan has arrived. After a moment, an old monk, supporting himself with a Zen staff, walked out. Dressed in a grey kasaya, he exuded an otherworldly aura, like someone detached from the secular world. Miss Yan, please forgive me for not greeting you from afar. The old monk bowed. Master, you're too polite. I apologize for troubling you with such a small matter, which takes away your time to serve the Buddha. Yan Rui felt a sense of trust in Master Xuanjing's demeanor, grateful that she had sought him out. After a few pleasantries, they got down to business. Yan Rui took out the stack of birth charts from her bag and placed them on a low table. She also took out a separate birth chart for Lu Tingxiao. Master, they're all here. Please take a look. Master Xuanjing nodded and began reviewing the birth charts. Yan Rui did not dare to disturb him, standing quietly on the side, waiting patiently. After examining each chart, Master Xuanjing would jot down a few words on the back. Finally, after reviewing all the birth charts, he looked up. Seeing that Master Xuanjing's expression remained unchanged throughout the process, Yan Rui couldn't help feeling anxious. She asked, Master, among these girls, are there any with particularly good birth charts or ones that match well with our young master? Master Xuanjing shook his head, there are none. This meant that none of these girls had outstanding birth charts, and there was no exceptional match for Lu Tingxiao. Feeling a bit disappointed, Yan Rui scrutinized the comments Master Xuanjing wrote on the back of the birth charts. They all seemed to be quite similar, and there wasn't even one standout candidate. With a somewhat absent-minded nod, Yan Rui put away the birth charts. Thank you very much, Master. Miss Yan, please don't hesitate to ask if you have any further questions. Thank you, Master. I won't disturb you any longer. Just as Yan Rui was about to leave, her steps suddenly halted. She remembered that there was one more person's birth chart in her bag, the one belonging to that girl named Ningxi. She didn't know what she was thinking, but she decided to have Master Xuanjing take a look at Ningxi's birth chart before leaving. However, if Lu Chongshan found out that she had taken this girl's birth chart for divination, he would surely be furious again. Yan Rui was in a dilemma. She took a glance at the birth chart, unsure of what decision to make. Seeing her troubled expression, Master Xuanjing asked, Miss Yan, do you have unfinished business? Yan Rui snapped out of her thoughts, hastily tucked the birth chart back into her bag, and decided not to trouble Master Xuanjing with Ningxi's chart. She was worried about Lu Chongshan's anger and felt that it was unnecessary to divine the fate of that girl. She hurriedly bid farewell, no more. Master, please carry on with your tasks. Saying this, she turned to leave. However, due to her rushed movements, a brownish-yellow piece of paper fluttered out of her bag and landed on the ground without her noticing. Yan Rui continued walking without realizing, while behind her, Master Xuanjing saw the paper and stooped to pick it up. Miss Yan, please wait. You dropped something. Oh. As he spoke, Master Xuanjing stared at the birth chart on the paper, and his expression showed a hint of surprise. This destiny. Yan Rui, upon hearing the master's voice behind her, quickly turned around. She saw Master Xuanjing holding Ningxi's birth chart, and there was a noticeable change in his expression that had remained constant until now. Seeing this, Yan Rui's heart skipped a beat. Master, how is this birth chart? Unlike the confidence she had when Master Xuanjing examined the other charts, Yan Rui felt even more anxious now. Why did Master Xuanjing's expression change? Could it be that this woman was exceptionally harmful to Lu Tingxiao, like a calamity for him? After what seemed like a long wait, Master Xuanjing finally spoke with contemplation. This person's destiny has a solitary celestial body and a calamity star entering her life. With calamity in her fate, she might harm her children or bring trouble to her husband. If not separated, she will be lonely. If she remarries elsewhere, her life is destined to be one of loneliness. Yan Rui, hearing this, was instantly shocked. This is a calamity star. My goodness. Harming children and causing trouble for her husband. Tingxiao. Little treasure. Yan Rui was immersed in immense horror. Could it be that this woman was extremely harmful to Lu Tingxiao? Was she a great disaster for him? After a while, Master Xuanjing suddenly asked, Miss Yan, do you remember the result of the divination I did for your son many years ago? I remember. Yan Rui said, her face full of lingering fear. Lu Tingxiao's birth chart years ago was extremely dangerous. Master Xuanjing continued, those with authority need the presence of a calamity star. The authority star requires the assistance of a calamity star. Without the calamity star, although the lifespan is long, it only means a comfortable life with basic needs. However, when calamity and authority gather, even if one becomes the highest authority, it is unavoidable to harm and restrain close relatives, leading to a lonely old age. That is the principle. But, Master, 5 years ago, after Little Treasure was born, didn't you say that Tingxiao's destiny had already changed? Yan Rui anxiously asked. Master Xianjing nodded. Indeed, signs of transformation began 5 years ago. Then, what does this woman's birth chart have to do with Tingxiao's calamity star? Yan Rui's heart was in turmoil as she asked. Master Xuanjing's face showed a mysterious expression. This person's destiny is quite coincidental. Similar to your son's destiny, there was also a sudden change 5 years ago. Changed? Yan Rui felt her anxiety reaching a peak and couldn't help urging, Master, please just tell me directly. Does this woman harm our Tingxiao or not? Yan Rui had already prepared for the worst and eagerly asked, Master, is there a way to resolve this? As long as you can help my son overcome this calamity, I'm willing to do anything. Master Xianjing shook his head and reassured, Miss Yan, there's no need to be overly nervous. Please listen carefully to what I have to say. Concerned that Yan Rui might not understand, Master Xianjing began explaining in a simple and understandable language. From the divination, it is true that this person has the destiny of a lone star, a calamity star. However, Miss Yan, if a person with a calamity star in their destiny has the support of a nobleman and is in a favorable position, it can bring wealth, honor, and overall prosperity. Alternatively, by practicing Buddhism, doing good deeds, and accumulating virtues, one can change their fate through self-effort and cultivation. Yan Rui dared not interrupt again. Despite her anxiety, she patiently listened. Under Yan Rui's calm gaze, Master Xianjing finally delivered his conclusion. If I'm not mistaken, this person now has a destiny of success, wealth, auspicious signs for livestock, and a prosperous home. It's an unparalleled blessing, flourishing in both fortune and family. She's destined for great fortune, and her life will be filled with blessings and multiple children. Listening to Master Xuanjing's words, Yan Rui was utterly stunned, almost unable to believe her ears. Master, what did you just say? In one moment, she was a calamity star, and in the next, she became blessed with unparalleled fortune, prosperity in her marriage, and many children. How did that happen? Master Xianjing stroked his graying beard and sighed. The most remarkable thing is that the timing of this person's fate transformation coincides too precisely with your son's. I suspect there is a certain connection between them. However, with my current level of enlightenment, I cannot assert it. What I can confirm is that if this person forms a connection with your son, it will bring only benefits and no harm. Yan Rui finally reacted, stuttering, so, you mean, not only does this girl's birth chart not conflict with my son's, but it also aligns perfectly? Indeed, nodded Master Xianjing. He then reminded her, the heavenly path is ever-changing, and nothing is absolute. The divination can only provide glimpses, just like the sudden transformation in your son's birth chart 5 years ago. So, Miss Yan, please don't be overly concerned. Do not trust it completely. Everything depends on individual destinies. I understand. Thank you, Master, for your guidance. Yan Rui looked dazed, packed the 2 birth charts, and bid farewell to Master Xianjing. Even after leaving the temple, Yan Rui still couldn't believe it. She had meticulously selected so many socialites with excellent family backgrounds and virtues, and none of them were suitable. In the end, it turned out that this girl Ningxi had such an outstanding birth chart. Master Xuanjing's words just now were like a string of compliments. At the Lu family's old mansion, Lu Chongshan was sitting on the living room sofa, reading a newspaper. Seeing Yan Rui return, he raised his eyes and asked, how did it go? Yan Rui looked a bit exhausted. Aside from Ningxi's chart, she handed over the birth charts of the other women to him. Master has made comments on all of them. Take a look yourself. In general, there are no conflicts, but none of them are particularly compatible. Lu Chongshan had a somewhat expectant expression, indifferent as he looked through the birth charts. As long as there's no conflict, it's fine. Seeing Lu Chongshan looking at the birth charts of those socialites, Yan Rui hesitated several times. Should she tell him about Ningxi's birth chart? Although Master Xuanjing's words suggested that this girl was a perfect match for Lu Tingxiao, he also mentioned that nothing in this world was absolute. Knowing Lu Chongshan's temperament, if he found out that she secretly divined Ningxi's birth chart, he would not only scold her, but probably wouldn't believe it either. Yan Rui made a decision in her heart. Forget it. She would observe for some more time before deciding. In the morning, the first thing Ningxi did after waking up was to go to Xingshi Entertainment to report the good news to Lin Jiji. The script was finalized. Coincidentally, Lin Jiji also had good news. They received their pay. So quick with the payment? Ningxi was somewhat surprised. Yeah, because your live broadcast with Jiong last night had an excellent effect. The game company is very satisfied, so they processed the payment in advance, Lin Jiji explained. Ningxi was delighted. That's fantastic. She decided not to scold Jiong. It should have been transferred already. Check your account later, Lin Jiji said. Alright. As Ningxi was agreeing, she received a new message, coincidentally the bank's remittance information. Jiji, I've received it. Lin Jiji chuckled. Good, since you don't have any work today, go out and relax. After leaving the company, Ningxi first went back to her apartment. The first thing she did was to take out 2 bank account numbers and transferred 100,000 to one account and 50,000 to another. Soon after, a call came in. Ningxi cheerfully answered, Hello, Dean Tao, how have you been lately? The voice of a slightly older woman came from the other end of the phone. We're doing fine here. Miss Ning, did you transfer money to the school again? Ningxi nodded. Yes, I distributed the salaries. The voice on the other end sounded a bit anxious, but this time it's too much, 100,000. I know you care about the children, but you also have to take care of yourself. Don't worry, Dean. I still have a lot. I didn't donate everything. Just use it with ease. It's winter now, buy some clothes and quilts for the children. Ningxi reassured. Ah, then I'll accept it. On behalf of the children, thank you. Take care of yourself and don't overwork, the voice on the other end said. I understand. Thank you, Dean, Ningxi replied. After hanging up the phone, Ningxi felt warm in her heart. She had been sponsoring this orphanage for 5 years. Unfortunately, she didn't have much savings in the past, but now she could contribute a bit more. The other 50,000, she transferred to her foster parents. She hadn't gone back in years, and she felt indebted to them. She didn't transfer too much because she knew they wouldn't accept it if it was too much. With this calculation, half of her endorsement fee remained, 15,000. It was enough for her to go out and have some fun. Her philosophy of financial management had always been to enjoy life in a timely manner. She never saved money and usually spent it quickly after receiving it, except for keeping a little for daily expenses. However, she inadvertently glanced at the calendar and realized that her grandfather's birthday was coming soon. Well, she would endure for a while before splurging. First, she needed to buy a birthday gift. After all, the Ning family was a prominent family, and although her grandfather wasn't as close to her as an ordinary grandfather would be to his granddaughter, he did care about her. Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Linyu only knew how to blame and resent her for her ignorant and embarrassing behaviors, while only her grandfather would privately correct her mistakes with a stern attitude, but it was definitely for her own good. After she left home, her grandfather tried several times to persuade her to return, but unfortunately, she couldn't fulfill the old man's wish in the end.